Yo guys, what is good? It's Cameron from Deck Builders here, and we're here to bring you our first Yu-Gi-Oh deck list. Here on this channel, we try and make the deck list as simple as possible to understand. So if you guys appreciate that and you guys like the little animations that we do to make the decks easy to understand and copy, then please hit that like and subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. Now, this Shaddoll's deck comes from Team Samurai. Now, Team Samurai is obviously a very big YouTuber, so you may have already seen the deck, especially if you're looking for Shaddoll decks, as it is the best deck. Now, this Shaddoll deck is just so good, that's why we had to repost it. The combo and everything at the end is crazy. All credit, though, for this deck and combo goes to Team Samurai. I know this is a bit of a copy of their video. Most of our videos won't be like this. Most of our videos will be our decks, or we might promote some smaller YouTubers that are a bit bigger in the competitive scene, but just don't have that video quality to make it easy for you to understand. So Shaddoll's is a deck that mainly focuses on using flip effects to gain card advantage and disrupt your opponent. It can gain card advantage by either flipping to draw, sending cards to the graveyard, then special summoning those cards from the graveyard and banish zones. There's so many effects that can do so many things, and that allows it to be manipulated in certain ways in lots of different engines, and that's what this deck takes advantage of. We use the bit of invoked engine. We're using a lot of different cards just to make this really overpowered. Obviously, Shaddoll's is going to be massive in the upcoming March 2019 format, but it's also pretty good now, and I believe this is going to be a good deck to come for a while. So without further ado, let's get into the deck list. Now, we're going to start off with our original Shaddoll monsters, and these include 2 copies of Shaddoll's SQUAMATA. Now, this card is really good, as when it's flipped, you can destroy a card, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to send 1 Shaddoll monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a really overpowered effect, and it's going to be very good in some combos later in the video. Now, next we're running 2 copies of Shaddoll Hedgehog, which is another really overpowered card. It's going to allow you to add 1 Shaddoll spell or trap card to your hand when it's flipped, or when it's sent to the graveyard, you're going to be able to add 1 Shaddoll monster to your hand. Next we're running 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast, which when this card is flipped, you're able to draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. When it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to draw 1 card. Now, for the last original Shaddoll monster, we have 1 copy of Shaddoll Dragon, which is going to allow you to destroy one of your opponent's cards when you flip summon it, or when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field. Now, next for our new Shaddoll monsters, we have REESHADDOLL Wendi. Now, when this card is flipped or sent to the graveyard by card effect, you're able to special summon 1 Shaddoll monster in face down defense position from your deck. Now, this effect is absolutely insane, considering the Shaddoll monsters benefit from being face down and then flipping, and that card is pretty much one of the main reasons why this new Shaddoll deck is so much more overpowered than Shaddoll's was before. Now, next we're running 1 copy of NELSHADDOLL ARIEL. Now, this card when flipped allows you to special summon 1 of your Shaddoll monsters from the banish zone, and when it is sent to the grave by card effects, you're able to banish 3 cards from your graveyard. Now, you all knew this card was going to be on here. 3 copies of ALEISTER, the Invoker. This is obviously the Invoker part of your deck. It just makes this deck so insanely overpowered, and is definitely one of your main drivers for your overpowered combo. Now that we've gone through all the Shaddoll cards, I'm not going to read out the card effects, but I will tell you a bit about the card and how we're going to use the card. Now, we're running 3 copies of MEKK-KNIGHT Purple Nightfall. Now, all these MEKK-KNIGHT cards are really going to help you going seconds, as Shaddoll does have a weakness to going second. It is definitely a going first deck, but these MEKK-KNIGHTs really do help out a lot when you are going second. Now, we're running 2 copies of MEKK-KNIGHT Blue Sky and 1 copy of MEKK-KNIGHT Indigo Eclipse. Now, we're running 1 copy of Performage Trick Clown. Now, these Performage cards are definitely going to make this combo overpowered later, and they're a nice little mini engine to run in your deck. Now, that other Performage card is 2 copies of Performage Damage Juggler, and the next little mini engine we're running is 3 copies of PSY-FRAME Gear Gamma. Now, obviously, this is a really good way to stop Ash Blossom, and it's a very nice hand trap. Gets a few cards on the field. If you mess up and you're forced to play defense, then we're also running 1 copy of PSY-FRAME Driver, just so you can actually use Gamma. Now, moving on to the spell cards, as we are very reliant on fusion monsters in this deck, we are going to be running a lot of fusion spells. So we're starting off with 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion, as well as another 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. Now, next we're running 3 copies of Invocation. Now, this is a really easy card to get to the hands because there's just so many options to get it to the hands using ALEISTER and Magical Meltdown. It's also obviously don't allow you to fusion your invoked fusion monsters, so it's a really necessary card. Next, we're running 2 copies of Magical Meltdown. 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Now, a lot of people like to run multiple Called by the Graves, but honestly, I just don't like the card that much. So that's used to like stop hand traps and all of that. So you can use multiple copies of that if you wanted to, but I'm only going to use 1. Next, we're running 1 copy of NEPHE Shaddoll Fusion. It's an alright card, what can I say? Now, for our only trap of the deck, we're running 1 copy of REESHADDOLL Incarnation. And that sums it up for the main deck. That means we're running 26 monsters, 13 spells, and 1 trap to add up to 40 total cards. Now moving on to the extra deck, which is a little tight for space. We're running 2 copies of Shaddoll Construct. Now this card has a lot of interesting effects. This card must first be fusion summoned. If this card was special summoned, you can send 1 Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Shaddoll spell / trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So this is a very versatile and overpowered card, and it's going to be really used in a lot of different combos. Next, we're running 2 copies of Shaddoll Winter. Now this card must first be fusion summoned, cannot be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. Each player can only special summon monsters once per turn while this card is face up on the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Shaddoll spell / trap monster in your graveyard, add it to the hand. So this card is going to be really good if you can get it on the field and then end your turn, because your opponent can only special summon once. They can't special summon multiple times, so you don't be able to lock them down. Next, we have 1 copy of Ycs Shaddoll APKALLONE. Now this card cannot be destroyed by battle. It pretty much has the same effects as the last 2 cards, which is that you can only use 1 of these effects once per turn. If this card effect is special summoned, you can target 1 face up card on the field, negate its effects. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Shaddoll card from your deck or your graveyard to your hand, then discard 1 card. Next, we're running 2 copies of Invoked MECHABA. Now, once per turn, when a spell or trap card is activated or a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can send the same type of card, monster, spell, or trap card from your hand to the graveyard and then negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. Now that's really overpowered because 1, you get to negate it and then you get to banish it. You don't just send it to the graveyard, you banish it, and most decks can't do anything with their banish zone, so that's really good effect. Next, we're running 1 copy of Invoked Raging. Now this card allows you to once per turn flip 1 card on the field to face down defense position. Now this can be really interesting with some of your Shaddoll monsters. You're able to spam their effects once per turn because you can flip them with Invoked Raging and then just flip them back, and then you've got the effect. And a lot of these flip effects are really good, so you can definitely take advantage of that. Next, we're running 1 copy of Invoked PURGATRIO. Now this is going to end off our fusion monsters. This card is really good for clearing big boards of monsters, as this card gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So that's just really overpowered for dealing lots of damage and getting rid of lots of cards. Next, we're running 1 copy of Cross Sheet. Now this is a really good link monster. You'll see why later in the combo. And we're running 1 copy of Salamangreat Armorage. I don't know how to say that again, I'm sorry. But you'll see why that card is good if you watch TeamSamuraiX1's gameplay video. I think it's called Tier 0 Shaddoll Deck or something like that. That's a very interesting card that you can use to combo off with. We're running 1 copy of ALEISTER, the Invoker of Madness. Again, this is really useful for the combo. Now for one of our stronger cards, we're going for APKALLONE, Bow of the Goddess. Now this card is going to be one of the cards that we summon towards the end of our combo. We're going to leave it on the board and it's going to give us multiple negates. Now for our last link monster, we're using one BORRELOAD dragon. You guys all know this is just an overpowered card, really good for just getting rid of something that you can't get rid of. And then lastly, we're running one copy of a Beast Dweller. Now this is really just the rank 4 XE is just to round off the deck. Okay, so this combo is very complicated, so I recommend that you watch this through, then maybe you watch TeamSam's video through, then you watch this one through, and then you watch his through again, and then you try to go practice it, because it's very long and very complicated, but it's also very overpowered. So these are the 3 cards you're going to need in your hand to start off with. You're going to need one copy of Performance Damage Juggler, you're also going to need one copy of Shaddoll SQUAMATA, and you're also going to need one ALEISTER the Invoker, but you can also use Magical Meltdown and then just use Magical Meltdown to get ALEISTER the Invoker. Now when I was making these little slides right here, I messed up and I accidentally typed Shaddoll Beast for all of this instead of Shaddoll SQUAMATA. So what I mean is Shaddoll SQUAMATA, I'll say Shaddoll SQUAMATA, but what I have written is Shaddoll Beast. So I'm very apologetic for this mistake, I hope you guys can forgive me. I mean, when I say Shaddoll SQUAMATA, I mean Shaddoll SQUAMATA, even though I have written Shaddoll Beast. So, first part of this is if you don't already have ALEISTER the Invoker, get ALEISTER the Invoker using Magical Meltdown. But now all we need to do is summon ALEISTER the Invoker. Now using ALEISTER the Invoker's Infect, we're going to be able to add one invocation to our hand. We're going to be able to use invocation to fusion summon for Shaddoll constructs using Shaddoll SQUAMATA and Performance Damage Juggler. See right there, that's the typo, it says Beast, it should mean SQUAMATA. Next, we're going to use the effects of Constructs as well as Shaddoll SQUAMATA to send REESHADDOLL WENDI as well as REESHADDOLL Incarnation to the graveyard. Next, you can use REESHADDOLL WENDI's effect because you've sent it to the graveyard to summon NELSHADDOLL ARIEL in face down defense position from your deck. Now your board should look like this with Shaddoll ARIEL in face down defense position, ALEISTER and Constructs on the board. Next, we're going to banish Performance Damage Juggler from the grave to add Performance Trick Clown to our hand. Next, we're going to link summon Shaddoll Constructs plus ALEISTER the Invoker to summon Cross Sheep to the field. Next, from our graveyard, we're going to activate the effects of REESHADDOLL Incarnation to banish Shaddoll Constructs to flip NELSHADDOLL ARIEL on the field. Now this is going to let us activate NELSHADDOLL ARIEL's flip effect on the field, and that's going to allow us to special summon Shaddoll Constructs from our banish zone into the defense position to a zone that Cross Sheep points to. Next, we're going to be able to special summon Shaddoll SQUAMATA using Cross Sheep's effect, and we want to summon him into the zone directly below Cross Sheep, so not in the place where his arrows point to, but directly below him. And since we special summon Shaddoll Construct again, we can activate Shaddoll Construct's effect to send Shaddoll Fusion from the deck to the grave. Next, we're going to be able to link summon for ALEISTER the Invoker of Madness using Shaddoll Construct plus Cross Sheep, and our board should now look like this. So since you sent Shaddoll Construct to the grave, you can now activate her effect to add Shaddoll Fusion back from the grave to your hand. Now you can activate Shaddoll Fusion to summon Shaddoll Constructs from your extra deck using NELSHADDOLL ARIEL as well as Performance Trick Clown. Now this part is really complicated, it would take me hours to explain in this little format right here, so I'm gonna just let TeamSam explain this part.
Now what you're gonna do is choose your chain links. Chain link 3 Trick Clown, chain link 2 ALEISTER, and chain link 1 Shaddoll Construct. So chain link 3 is gonna resolve first by the cost of paying 1,000 light points. Special back Trick Clown. ALEISTER will trigger off its ability to discard 1 card in your hand. At this point, if you have a Shaddoll monster in your hand, you can easily send it to the graveyard to trigger off their effect. So you use the ALEISTER to send the 1 random card, unknown card from your hand to the graveyard to search the invocation directly from your deck to your hand. And Construct is going to resolve by sending, of course, the Hedgehog to the graveyard. And once Hedgehog gets sent to the graveyard, Hedgehog is going to activate its effect to search the REESHADDOLL WENDI directly from your deck to your hand. So now what you do is that you're going to activate the second invocation by banishing, of course, ALEISTER, and also Construct in your graveyard to fusion summon into Invoked MECHABA. Now once MECHABA is summoned, ALEISTER the Invoker of Madness will trigger off his ability to send the other unknown card that's in your hand to the graveyard to search the last copy of Invocation directly from your deck to your hand. This effect is not once per turn, which what makes this card super crazy.
Now that you've done all that, you're going to be able to link summon using ALEISTER the Invoker of Madness, Shaddoll Constructs, and Performage Trick Clown for Apollos the Bow of the Goddess. Now you want to make sure to place Apollos the Bow of the Goddess in your far left link zone. You want to be using the right link zone for all of this combo. Also, she's also going to have now 3 negates available. So now that you sent Shaddoll Constructs to the grave again, you can use her effect to add Shaddoll Fusion back from your grave to your hand. Now you can activate INVOCATION'S effect, which is going to be able to put itself back in the deck, as well as add an ALEISTER the Invoker from your deck to your hand. And now you can set Shaddoll Fusion and you can end your turn if you want. Now it's a quick effect, so you can activate it in your opponent's turn, but this is what your opponent's board looks like. You've got a pretty much undestructible card. You've got 3 negates and then you've got a decent card in defense position. So now you want to end your turn and you want to instantly use your Shaddoll Fusion and you're going to be able to lock your opponent. I'm going to let TeamSam's explain it because he just explains it better than me. He made the combo.
What you're going to do on your opponent's turn is that you're going to lock your opponent by summoning WENDI. And how you're going to summon WENDI is you're going to activate, of course, the Shaddoll Fusion using SQUAMATA and also the REESHADDOll WENDI that's in your hand into the Shaddoll WENDI. SQUAMATA and WENDI will trigger off their effects. SQUAMATA is going to activate its effect to send Hedgehog to the graveyard, and WENDI is going to activate her effect to special and, of course, the Shaddoll Beast directly from your deck in face-down defense position. And this is the luxury of having WENDI in your deck, is that you're actually able to get access to Beast to draw 2 cards to discard 1, which is insane. And now Hedgehog is going to resolve its effect to basically add a Shaddoll Dragon or any other Shaddoll monster directly from your deck to your hand, right? So this is basically your end board right now. You have Appaloosa with 3 negates. You have a WENDI that locks your opponent from special summoning. You have MECHABA that can negate spell or monsters, which is really awesome. And also at the same time, on the following turn, you have a Shaddoll Beast. Draw 2, discard 1. Which is absolutely insane. So this is your end board right here, which is really nice. It's going to be really hard for your opponent to actually get rid of WENDI. So if they were to attack, you can ALEISTER them. WENDI will be at 3,200. And then on the following turn, you have, of course, Beast, draw 2. You can also go Invocation to banish the ALEISTER that you sent to the graveyard to protect the WENDI, to just basically make another MECHABA or to make a Raging. It all depends on the scenario that you guys are in, right? But this is the ideal hand board that you guys want to have. The following turn, you can just activate Invocation and make a Raging anyways, right?
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck list and combo. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. As I said, we really do appreciate it. And if you made it to this point, please comment Shaddolls down in the description. I am very interested to see who watched all the way to the end. And tell us what you guys think. Do you like the format? Do you like the combo? Do you like the deck? What improvements would you make? Just let us know all your thoughts down below. As I said, I'm Cameron from Deck Builders. That's the end of the video. We would appreciate if you could go check out our other videos. Thank you very much, and I'm out. See ya.